Okay, translators, this is Mr. Yabe's talk. This will occur on Tuesday morning right after my Banished Sloppiness introduction talk. We will have a 1-hour talk from me, a 10-minute break, and then Mr. Yabe will come in and he will begin his talk. It will last about an hour, and then Q&A, an hour and a half. We will walk across the street and witness the 7-minute miracle, or the cleaning of the Shinkansen train. So let me give you a little background about Mr. Yabe before we get going. He was Director of Safety for the JR East Railway System. He then went to work as the executive and leader of Tessay, the company responsible for cleaning the Shinkansen. Approximately 900 employees he's responsible for. So let's get going in his talk. He speaks strictly Japanese. Mami-san will be translating from Japanese to English for you, and you'll be translating. By watching this talk, you'll be very familiar with the information, so you'll be able to fluently go through this without too much thinking. So here we go. He'll introduce himself, Mr. Yabe, Yabe-san, Director of Safety for JR East, and then became the leader of Tessay.
Japan's bullet trains are famous the world over for their speed and efficiency, aren't they? Every day, up to 168 fast trains arrive and depart Tokyo. Well, the cleaning crews get just 7 minutes to work on each train. As Paula Hancock's found out, it's known as the 7-minute miracle.
The platforms at Tokyo Station, where the world's fastest trains get the quickest turnaround. They call this the Shinkansen Theatre. And the show is about to begin. This operation is planned literally to the very last second. If you bear in mind, the train's only actually in the station for about 12 minutes. In that time, you have to get the passengers off. You also have to introduce new passengers. So it really only leaves about 7 minutes for the team to do their job. And they affectionately call those 7 minutes the 7-minute miracle. Hidekatsu Sedoguchi has been at this for 6 months. Not a long time, but long enough to know that he's cleaning more than a train. He's looking after a national icon. Most people don't get a chance to ride the Shinkansen, he says. It's a train that diplomats, ambassadors and governors from around the world come to see, and to watch the crews match the speed and efficiency of the Shinkansens they clean, up to 168 trains a day. I have to do this very quickly, Setoguchi says, or I can't finish in time. His 7 minutes are up. It's time to leave the cabin. I hardly have a chance to see a passenger's face when they enter the train, Setoguchi tells me, but I always hope they'll have a comfortable journey. And with that, the Shinkansen Theatre ends the same way it began. One last bow to the passengers before the crew exits their stage. Paula Hancock's CNN Tokyo.
We're going to actually experience the Shinkansen because on Wednesday we're going to be riding on the Shinkansen from Tokyo, from this train station down to Nagoya for about an hour or 90 minutes. You'll be able to experience it. Now, he switches his slide to Arnold Schwarzenegger because he's a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he says he's my hero, and he says, and you know, just kind of making a little
Come on.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Stop whining.
Babysitter.
You
This
kids
is a
are
famous
soft.
movie he was in.
You lack
where
discipline.
He is a nanny babysitter, and he says, "You're mine
I've got
now."
news for you.
You know,
You are
you
mine
have to
now.
listen to me.
You
So
belong
he's
to me.
basically saying, you know, this is the old type of.
You're not gonna have your
leadership.
mommy's
The
not
new
behind
type
you
of
anymore and wipe your little
leadership
tushes.
is, you know, we have
Oh
to be a
no,
lot more
it's
thoughtful
time
about
now
the way we do
to
it. So
turn
he's
this
kind of
mush
poking fun
into
at
muscles.
this. So his main point is this: all work is dignified. And then he switches a slide here and he says, this is Tessay's burning platform. When he took over the company, these were some of the problems. He had high turnover, lots of accidents, sharp sales drops, no technological strength, focus on cost reduction, top management not aligned, and then sloppy financial accounting. So these are some of the issues that he was dealing with. So his first target was to give people pride in their work. And he gives you a quick profile, about 910 employees, 50% women, 50% female. average age about 50, and then 61% part-time, 39% full-time, or part-time 39 and full-time 61. But in order to become a full-time employee, you had to actually first be a part-time employee for 1 year before you could become a full-time employee. And his 5 secrets were this: turn work into theater, focus on hospitality, communicate spirit, employees work with energy, and focus Japanese virtue of courteousness. So these were the main things, and all of his employees had flowers, they were dressed nice, they had nice uniforms. There were lots of things they did, and this is a breakdown of the 7-minute miracle. They had 2 minutes. They greeted the plane, had 2 minutes to get off the plane or get off the train, and then 7 minutes to clean the train. They had to work with energy and a great attitude, and then 3 minutes to reboard the train. So they had a total of 12 minutes to get everything done they needed to get done. So thank you to each customer. And so the problem was they're kind of a downstream society. These are people that are cleaning the train, and he had to convey to them that their job was really important. So he said they had to have a new understanding. And that new understanding was basically they were responsible for the maintenance and cleaning of the national treasure, the Shinkansen. And indeed, it is a national treasure. And so he kind of changed their perspective on what they were doing. Now, and they did lots of kaizens. They got their team members to come up with better ideas. The old cleaning crew system, the buckets were showing, things were showing. It wasn't very attractive. They made nice bags. They put their name on them. They got rid of the brooms, people standing there with a broom and a dustpan. And one of the improvements that they made was, Jackie Chan has these chopsticks, these little nunchucks, and they tried to make them collapsible like this on the broom, but that didn't work out. So what they did is they went ahead and made a telescoping broom, and he shows this little improvement. And then they had a little bell that went on the outside of the bags to indicate that they had found something, a cell phone or something of that nature. This is how that all worked. He'll explain all that. Mami-san will translate. But they have a little package like this. They put the lost car keys in, and then they put it inside the bag, and they put the bell on the outside, which reminds everyone to immediately return it to Lost and Found, so the people who have lost the things can find them. They don't have to wait till the end of the day for things to be turned in. And they had lots of lost things, $400,000 in money, cell phones, flash drives, all kinds of things were lost all the time. And this basically eliminated a good percentage of those complaints because they came up with a kaizen to get the things turned in quickly and efficiently. Now they further kaizened it by putting a little pouch on the outside of their belts that's visible to everybody. They find something, they put it in that pouch so that everybody knows immediately to get that turned in. Another problem they had was toilets not being flushed, so they knew they had lots of foreigners on the Shinkansen, so they added Chinese, they added English, and they added Korean, and this basically solved the problem. 3 more languages. Then they added a changing room for babies and for mothers. As they waited for the Shinkansen, they needed a place to take care of their babies, so they added that. And then they noticed that there was no women's bathroom discrete just for the women. The women had to use the men's bathroom. They thought that was kind of disgusting because men are not the cleanest animals in the world. So they made a women's only bathroom. They're the only railroad that has that. And so these are some of the things that he changed to make their team members think entirely differently about their job. He changed people's minds. Cool uniforms, the people came up with all kinds of, the team members came up with all kinds of cool uniforms, and they wore those, the old uniforms, the new uniforms. They even had holiday uniforms that the members wore, as well as kimonos, traditional Japanese kimonos. He also got the organization written up in many notable business journals and magazines about the miraculous work that Tessei was doing, and got lots of credibility. So much credibility that they even wrote a musical about it. Mr. Yabe was featured in that, and he was not actually in the musical, but they made the musical about Tessei and what they had done. And then 2 million tweets on Twitter. So lots of people are always talking about Tessei and what a miraculous thing it was to watch this. Less than 1 minute annual delay for all the trains. This is staggering how they pull this off. This is a train that goes over 200 miles an hour, and the only delay is no more than 1 minute. And that's annually on each train. It's an amazing accomplishment. So you have the old math and new math. 1 minus 100 equals 99. So people always focus on the one that makes a mistake. He says, no, also remember the 99 that are doing the job right. But then the new math is this. And this is 1 minus 100 equals 0. So if one person makes a mistake, it actually wipes out the great record for the entire team. So it's very important that people do the job right, and that you also give accolade to the people that are doing the job right. And then you have the devil report and angel report, and these are devil words and angel words, words that are positive that you should speak to one another, and not these negative words. And so he goes into this whole angel report thing, that he has people bring him all the positive things people are doing. This video will play, and it shows you all the incredible
Уму
things that
наши
happen.
нельзя увидеть глазами или
I'll
услышать
let you
ушами,
listen to it.
но оно трогает ваше сердце и создает грандиозные впечатления. Это важное слово для японцев, и мы им гордимся. Слабовидящему клиенту нужна помощь. Он хотел пойти к Эдиго Юдзава, до его поезда еще оставалось время, поэтому Эсан провел его в зал ожидания. «Я приду за тобой, когда придет время твоего поезда». Тогда Эсан пошел за клиентом. Он сказал: «Я помню тебя, ты помог мне в прошлый раз». От одного этого слова Эсан потерял дар речи. «Большое спасибо, что помните». Кейсан пытался прочистить унитаз. Другой член команды спросил: «Как дела?» «Если вы не сможете вовремя прочистить его, мы повесим табличку «Неисправно». Когда руки Кейсана застряли в унитазе, а по лицу тек пот, Кейсан сказал: «Я смогу это сделать, я смогу это сделать». Член его команды сказал спасибо. Кейсан гордо улыбнулся. Си-сан убирала в мусорный бак. Когда маленький ребенок сказал: «Си-сан, можешь ли ты взять это?» и дал ей пустую пластиковую бутылку, Си-сан сказал спасибо, и вот тебе открытка. «Спасибо», сказал ребенок и побежал обратно к родителям. Молодая пара очень низко поклонилась. «Большое спасибо», сказал Си-сан, снова и снова. Когда мы были на обложке «Ники и бизнес», мне позвонила мама, и она плакала. Я купил 10 экземпляров, чтобы отправить маме и родственникам. Когда я был на платформе, пассажир сказал: «Я видел тебя на обложке Nike Business. Ты поступил тогда очень правильно». Кицуи – сложный, китанай – грязный, кикен – опасный. Раньше наша работа определялась 3К. Давайте покончим с этой эпохой. Будущее – это не то, что мы воображаем, а то, что мы создаем сами. Теперь у нас есть сила, чтобы сделать это, потому что у нас есть лучшие навыки, как у команды, которая приобрела мудрость, изобретательность, и мы весело проводим время. Новые 3К мы будем создавать вместе с нашими клиентами. Канша – благодарность, кангеги – вдохновение, кандо – впечатлительность.
Okay, so there's a beautiful video on how he created this culture, and then he'll go into the old 3Ks, and then from there he'll transition into their new 3Ks, Kansha, Kangeki, and Kandu. And then he'll say his conclusion. His conclusion is you can't be a leader if you don't love Kaizen, if you don't embrace Kaizen. This is very important. Then his next conclusion is that there are 3 things. You must be warm, you must be strict, and you must be fair. A lot of people have questions about the strict. We'll go over that, what that means. It means holding to a certain standard. And then he says to train your top 10, spread your DNA. Spread your DNA. You have this new understanding, now spread it amongst all your leadership. And then questions. And then we will then take a brief break. Everyone go to the bathroom. We'll clean up the entire area, put all the tables back straight. They'll be at an angle when we walk in. And then we will walk across the street and we will see the 7-minute miracle. After that, we will go to lunch. And after lunch, we'll go to see where General MacArthur led the reconstruction of Japan. So that gives you a brief overview. If you have any questions, let me know. The hope is that that first video that we get that translated into Russian with a Russian overview.